Saddam Hussein and Adolf Hitler walk into a restaurant. Saddam says, "What time is it?" Adolf says, "Noon Eastern." Saddam says, "Wow, it's time for Wager Talk Today, the best daily sports betting show on the planet." Adolf is like, "Who's on it?" Saddam's like, "Bryan Power, Andy Lang, Gianni the Greek, and maybe, just maybe, Dave Sharapan." Adolf is like, "Well, let's get on with it then." Gianni the Greek joining us. How are you, my friend?
Never better. And usually I'm coming in through the tail end, but I am kicking it off today. So I'm surprised Stalin and Mao haven't tuned in yet, but I think they were waiting for a later show. I think it's a little later they get up than the Hitler and Saddam. Those guys are early risers. They've always been.
Oh, well, you know what, dude? If you're going to make world domination,
you got to get up. You can't sleep in, bro. You can't sleep in. Do you see what happened? 4 years of Biden. Look what happened. That's what happens when you sleep in.
If you want to beat Jews at anything, you better be an early riser. I'd like to dedicate the opening to Ross Benjamin, everybody. Gianni the Greek, how does this one-day layoff affect the teams playing in the Rose Bowl?
I don't think it's going to affect them all that much, man. I really don't. Not in a positive or a negative. I think as a sports bettor, you're going to try to argue your case. That's what we do best. Meaning, if I like Georgia, I'm going to try to find ways that the day off may have helped them. If I like the other side, I'm going to think, maybe what's a way that I could think of Notre Dame? Does it help Notre Dame? But at the end of the day, it's just so hard to quantify those type of things and see if anyone really has an advantage. It's just a terrible situation that went down. We really don't know, you know what I mean, how the teams responded. But again, they're there to play a football game. They've had a couple weeks to prepare. I don't think a 24-hour difference is going to be all that different. We know there's randomness involved anyway, Prez. They could play this game today and they could have played it yesterday, and the outcomes could be completely different. That's the randomness of a 3-hour football game. But
right.
Over and over and over again is what we try to determine. And that's what's so hard to determine. What do you really gain or lose from that 24-hour difference? And for myself, I just ignore it. My bets were in. They're not changing. And now it's just got to play out. That's how I'm looking at it. Like I talked about yesterday, there's two-way action. The wise guys got out on Georgia. That's why the lower-ranked team was favored over arguably the highest power ranked team. A lot of guys I respect in college football do have Notre Dame as number one. I have Ohio State personally, but they have Notre Dame, so I respect that. And yet they bet Georgia because in this matchup, they believe Georgia just has a lot more advantages in X's and O's. But as we've gotten closer to the game, that's changed. Georgia went from a 2-point favorite to Notre Dame is now a 1-point favorite. Again, he reached the key number of 3, so it's not all that significant. But it does tell you that, as we talked about, the betting public didn't speak early. They spoke late, and they liked the Notre Dame side. There's no secret there because just a couple days ago, Georgia was the favorite. That has changed. As long as the game doesn't land within a point or two, the books are going to do just fine. They're going to get two-way action, and this is the kind of game you want to be a bookie, not a bettor. But if it lands anywhere from 1 point to 2, they're going to get wrecked. Because like I said, there's guys on all sides of this, just with a plus here, plus there, plus here, plus there. As long as it don't fall close, the books will do fine. That's why it's not moving much from here. It's going to stay where it is.
Gianni the Greek with a 3-minute answer on a trick question. The answer was it doesn't affect the Rose Bowl at all. It was played yesterday.
None whatsoever.
Right.
Zero.
We're talking about the Sugar Bowl, Gianni. Oh, put Bryan Power on the screen right now. Oh, my God. Oh, now look. Oh, he's holding his face in. Oh,
no
Bryan,
effect.
Calm down now. Okay. Bryan Power enjoying the show or maybe some toxins early on a Thursday morning. Gianni, we do have another football game. And speaking about Bryan Power, he's going to take it apart in great detail. That's Duke and Mississippi. That is the Gator Bowl. What are you seeing out there?
Well, if you're looking at your screen, it's about to light up because we just bet under 51.5 about a minute or two ago. So pretty soon, if you're looking at the odds screen on WagerTalk, that number 51.5 won't be there anymore. It's going to wipe out. There's going to be nothing but 50s or 49.5s because we just took out all the 51s and a halves. They were 53s a couple days ago. We took those out. Now they're taking out the 51.5. I don't know if it's weather related. I haven't dug into it because I really don't care. To be honest with you, I didn't use this for subscribers. I simply moved it for these guys. I hope they win because I take a percentage of the accounts. But unless I have a strong opinion on it, I'm not releasing it. I told you, 2025 is a little bit different for me. So unless I really have a strong opinion, I'm not going to fire. I'm just going to share the information. So, the under is the side that the winning, at least that 1% is on. And they also laid Mississippi, but they laid 14. Now, since then, it's been the public that's driven it up. The guys I know got a 14 in their pocket. I wouldn't bet it myself now, but I don't like the Duke side either. I think under's the way to play it, under or pass.
Gianni the Greek joining us, everyone. And guys, if you don't mind, please hit that like button. Let's start the new year off well. Let's get to 100 likes quickly. Gianni the Greek. So we're going to get into some more actionable betting information, and we're going to talk a lot about your new style. I mean, obviously now is tough. We've got a lot of bowl games in the NFL card, and
of course
basketball is. But let me just ask you. So you've always been an extremely high volume. I hate to use the word handicapper because you're not technically handicapping these games. No. You're just basically providing your clients with where the money is going all over from all the top syndicates out there. So moving forward, all the high volume will be given out on a daily basis on this show, right?
Correct. For free. That's why I say come in loaded with your leans, and I'm going to let you know what we already fired on. My subscribers are going to get the 2 or 3 strongest plays that I think there's enough EV for them to get down, but the rest, use it as you see fit. Like I say, long-term, they win more than they lose. But what I've come to the conclusion is the majority of recreational bettors just don't have the bankroll or the bet management style to overcome big volume betting, because what's going to happen with big volume betting, you got to bet a real small percentage of your bankroll. You're going to go broke. More times than not, the cold streak's going to wipe you out. That's what happens with most guys that bet volume, because they can't bet low enough based on their bankroll. They got a $10,000 bankroll. You tell them to bet $50 a game. They look at you like you're crazy. They look at you like you're nuts. They want to bet 500, 1,000 a game. You tell them to bet $50 a game, so the risk of ruin's almost zero. They look at you like you're crazy. I need 10 years to make money. That's how they're going to look at you. So I realized, for most people, that's just not doable. They don't have the bankroll. They don't have the time, and they don't have the discipline. So it's time for me to help them be as profitable as possible. Like I said, I've documented 10 years, Prez, 10 years of documented results. 2 of those are losing years. It was 2019 and now this last year that I'm coming off of. Other 8 years were profitable with that volume. So now it's time to slow it down, slow down the volume, and try to isolate the help more recreational bettors than just that, that 1% of guys that are actually trading all day with me and shit.
The concept of Gianni slowing down, everybody, will be fun to watch. That's for sure. Welcome to the chat room, guys. Mario Delirio writes, why is Teddy not hosting anymore? He's just too damn busy, really, more than anything else. What people don't realize, for instance, Gianni, as you would know, I mean, Teddy's big game breakdown, that was an hour every morning. Teddy coming up with follow-up questions, he'd have to wait for the handicappers to put up what games they're talking about. Then he'd have to research. That was another hour.
And he's a guy that watches every game, too. He watches the stuff, too.
It was just taking too much time out of his day. It was affecting his handicapping. It was putting him in a miserable mood, which we don't want. So ultimately, he took a step back. But Teddy is on lots of shows and still a vital, key member of the WagerTalk team. Dale Mac Alexander, I haven't seen your name. Welcome to the chat. Gianni, let's talk some hoops, and we'll keep this segment short today. What's going on in basketball?
Because tomorrow you and I got some NFL to go over. There's some games that matter, Prez, so we really got to go over them quickly, but we got some good information to share. Here's what I got in college basketball. I only got one bet we placed in the added board game. That's 306, 530. We bet Northern Alabama at minus 13.5 and minus 14. Here comes the regular board. 788, Washington plus 6.5. 770, Tennessee Tech minus 3. Those are the sides. Here come the totals. 727, over 138.5. Robert Morris, Detroit. 730, under 144. Texas State, Marshall. 769, over 146. Southern Indiana, Tennessee Tech. 796, under 152.5. Santa Clara, San Diego. 760 under 158, South Dakota and UMKC. And finally, 742 under 151, William and Mary and Hofstra. And actually, I'm just logging in to see if anything else came in. No. Robert Morris, Detroit. I'm sorry, not Hofstra. The Robert Morris in Detroit. Did I give that out? That just came in. Oh, yeah, that came in earlier. 727 over 130. Oh, they went over 130 and a half. Now we're going over 139 again. So that's a bet that you're seeing. The same group hit it twice. So I gave it to you at the top. It was the second bet I gave you. I gave you Washington, Tennessee Tech as the sides. And the first total I gave you was over 138 and a half. Robert Morris, Detroit. Right now in the account at exactly 30 seconds ago, they bet over 139 in Robert Morris, Detroit. So they didn't adjust it enough. They're betting it again. And also game 808 under 135, Santa Barbara, Hawaii. That should move now. These two just came in. These three actually just came in. Sorry. And Delaware Northeastern under 152 and a half. Here's an NHL for you. Can't believe it just came in also. Over 6.5. Sabres Avalanche. Over 6.5. Sabres Avalanche. They're willing to take it up to 120. Yeah. It's about minus 110 right now. Up to minus 120. So there you go. A lot of information, baby. Whether you follow, fade, or ignore it, I just hope you cash them. Don't trash them. Start off your 2025 the right way. We got 12 months ahead of us, baby. So no reason to rush. Grind, grind, grind. That's the job.
That was like 7 slogans in one. Gianni the Greek. What do you got to promote, dude?
Smash that like. Smash that like. Smash that like. And engage, man. Seriously. Come in with the questions ready to go. No matter what they are. We take nothing personal here. We all have the same goal. We wake up with the same agenda. Find an edge. Find an edge. Find an edge. So we're allowed to argue during work, and after work, we'll have a beer and laugh. But during it, come prepared. Come prepared. What do I have ready to go? I know I have my game today, the college football, the Sugar Bowl's up. I got NFL already in the system. 2 4% plays already fired. So you know the low volume. So the lines are going to move. If you want to get down quickly. And 2025, I'm really excited for it, Prez. Going to do as much content as possible. YouTube at least 2 times a week as well. Going to get that back up. So yeah, really excited for 2025, brother.
Get out of here. Gianni the Greek, everyone.
Love you.
Yeah, you too, brother. And if you guys want to check out Gianni for a month package, we have this great promo up. A bunch of you guys took advantage of it yesterday. Basically, if you buy the next 90 days of plays, you get 30 days for free. So if you buy 90 days of plays, you get 30 days for free. That's a $300 saving. You can head over to WagerTalk, click on the deal button. It will be sitting right there for you. Before we bring Bryan Power in, man, I tell you guys, I've been absolutely dominating in giving out NHL free picks on this show. Every one of them has won so far this week, and I'm going to give you guys another one today, and it is literally the same play as we gave out 2 days ago, and that is the Toronto Maple Leafs minus 120 against the New York Islanders. I gave you guys that play a couple of days ago. They played in Toronto. The score was 3-1. I think we're going to see another low-scoring game tonight, and I think Toronto will win again, and it is minus 120. So that is an extremely light bet, soft money line. Take advantage of that. And I also do like the over in the Colorado Avalanche Buffalo game. Same play Gianni the Greek gave out. Bryan Power joining us. Bryan, you are a great audience, man.
Prez, you're a funny guy. Happy New Year, by the way. But yeah, you're a funny guy. That whole Rose Bowl, Sugar Bowl thing you got him with, that was funny. Yeah, I don't think he picked up on it at all, by the way.
Yeah. Well, the worst part about it was nor did I until Natural 8 in the chat room pointed it out. So I'm not going to – it's okay. I found humor inside of that situation. It's amazing fashion. You know, I'm looking at myself. I'm wearing a V-neck. 3 years ago, dude, I would have been like, you could only wear V-necks. It's V-necks or nothing. Now I look at myself in a V-neck. I'm like, it's so out of fashion. It's got to be crew necks or nothing. It's so weird. It's weird. It's a weird thing, fashion, huh?
Yeah, I got nothing. I'm wearing I'm wearing a hoodie that I just grabbed right before I went on the air. I forgot I needed to look somewhat respectable.
Okay. Well, you failed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kidding, brother. Duke, Old Miss. This is a game that goes today at 8 p.m. It is minus a million for Mississippi with a total of 50.5. Where are we going here, dude? I mean, I got to look at the over.
Well, I'm looking at the WagerTalk.com live odds screen right now. I don't see minus a million, Prez. I am seeing minus 17.5, though, on Ole Miss. And the reason for the massive spread is twofold. One, Ole Miss is just simply a much better team than Duke. Okay, guys? I have the Rebels power rated as the best non-playoff team in the country. In fact, right now, there's only 3 teams I would have favored against the Rebels on a neutral field. And here in the Gator Bowl, they get to face a Duke team that really doesn't have a quarterback. Kind of a problem when you're playing football, Prez. Starter Malik Murphy, he hit the portal. So did backup Grayson Loftus. And if that's enough, leading rusher Star Thomas, he's out of Dodge as well. So you look at a big number like this, the question becomes, guys, is Ole Miss going to be sufficiently motivated to cover? Well, given the way that Lane Kiffin flapped his gums about the College Football Playoff Selection Committee, he better have his team motivated. Always going to look pretty foolish. Therefore, I think there's only one way you can play this one, and that is to lay the points. Honestly, when I was breaking this down from my power ratings perspective, I would consider laying 17.5 with Ole Miss, even if Murphy was playing with Duke. I think the gap is that big. I also did consider under a little bit. Ole Miss this really shocked me. They were 10-2 to the under in the regular season. But my concern, Prez, is the Rebels potentially running up the score here. The Lane train loves to make a point. He can be like that. Jackson Dart, quarterback, is playing. Duke under their team total is something else I considered, but it's 16.5. My thoughts are this could very much end up 38-17, the final. So again, Ole Miss minus 17.5 is how I would play the Gator Bowl.
There we go. Bryan Power joining us, everyone. We're going to continue to look at college football. We got Andy Lang waiting in the wings for some prop bets. Stay with us all the way. North Texas and Texas State. These two teams are playing tomorrow in the first Responder Bowl. Very important to get the names of these bowls out, you know?
Yes.
Without the names of these bowls, they just don't have the same who the hell cares, it's a totally meaningless game feel to it.
Well, that's certainly an interesting way to tee it up, Prez, but I will concede this game is an absolute mess. Now, we do have 2 Texas teams playing in the Lone Star State. Perhaps that could have them motivated, but before we get into all the absences for these 2 rosters, Prez, let me throw this at you. If I were to ask you to name the college football teams that have been favored in every game this season, I think certainly you, everyone watching, would name Ohio State, Texas, 2 teams that, of course, now will be facing off in the semifinals of the playoff next week.
Liberty.
What if I told you Texas State is also on that list? Yes, the Bobcats have been favored in all 12 games this season, including they were by a 3-point favorite against Arizona State, who we just saw in the playoff yesterday. That game was played back in September. Texas State took a ton of money. That was a weeknight game. They were winning at halftime. They played terribly in the second half and blew it. And that was kind of the way their season went, Prez. Texas State 7-5 straight up. So a very disappointing regular season. 5 outright losses as a favorite for the team from San Marcos. Now, what makes this game a truly difficult handicap is all the players in the portal. North Texas is without Chandler Morris, their quarterback, their top wide receiver, Sheffield, their starting tight end, and 3 starting offensive linemen. Freshman Drew Mestamaker, he's going to be the guy starting at quarterback for the Mean Green. Only 5 career pass attempts. There's going to be some other freshmen filling the voids for head coach Eric Morris there. Then on the Texas State side, just breaking a couple days ago, quarterback Jordan McLeod, he's going to play, but it seems like it's just limited snaps. He wants to play in the East-West Shrine game. 7 other starters confirmed as being out for Texas State as well. So what in the hell do we do here? Well, the money's come in on Texas State and the under. So I'm going to play North Texas under its team total of 23.5. I know people look at the North Texas offensive stats, Prez, and they say, my God, who would want to play under a team total when a team's got these incredible offensive statistics? But again, go back to all the absences I just brought. It's not the same offense that we saw out of the team from Denton in the regular season. I think North Texas under the team total is the best course of action for the first Responder Bowl.
There we go, Bryan Power. Brian, let's turn our attention to college hoops. Oregon, hopefully they have a better, start to a game than they did yesterday. My God, Brian, imagine, just 2 weeks of excitement, anticipation, number 1 in the country. already beat the team you're playing against. Super pumped, super excited. Over in the first 7 minutes. I don't think that'll happen tonight against Illinois on the hard court, but maybe the Ducks have something better up their sleeve in basketball. -4.5 against this Illinois team. Where are we going?
Yeah, well, I might as well just work this in now because you mentioned it. Big 5% win for yours truly yesterday with Ohio State. We don't have a lot of 5% plays across all sports. I hyped it. I jumped on it right away. As soon as that line came out, I jumped on Ohio State -115 on the money line. Told people for days, you need to get down on this one. The line should have been 6.5. Ohio State absolutely boat raced them. Great way to start 2025. Now on a 7-1 all sports run. To basketball, Oregon hosting Illinois. I know that home court advantage traditionally has been very strong in the Big Ten. And this season, Prez, that's probably going to get amplified because the conference is obviously expanded. We have the teams out on the West Coast. We saw during football season when these teams were traveling 2 time zones or more, they did not do well. Washington comes to mind in football. USC comes to mind. And now in college hoops, we've got that situation. Illinois going out to Eugene to take on Oregon. But I'm going to surprise some folks here a little bit. I like Illinois plus the points. Actually, this is strictly a numbers play for me. You look at the current top 25, the pollsters say Oregon's the 9th best team in the country. Illinois is number 23. I disagree with that. My own power ratings have Illinois higher than Oregon. So definitely lower on the Ducks than are the pollsters. I know their only loss was a last-second deal against UCLA. They've beaten Bama. They beat A&M. They beat San Diego State. But Illinois, per Ken Palm, is 12th in defensive efficiency. They hold opponents to 42% from two-point range, 26% from three. I will trust my own numbers here on this one. Take the points. I think this number is going to go up. I saw Circa was hanging a 5, so the rest of the market probably is going to follow suit. So maybe wait a little bit to get down here. As long as Illinois does not go ice cold from 3, though, Prez, I think we should be in good shape with the underdog. Give me the Fighting Illini in this one.
And that's a big if, dude. They just put up 117 points in their last game. So they are kind of due for a bad shooting night. With that said, a bad shooting night from Illinois might still be 91 points. Yeah, there we go. Oregon, not the play, according to Bryan Power. Bryan, thanks for joining us, brother. We've got that great promo up. By 90 days, get extra month free. Why should people use it on you?
Well, look, like I just said, 2025 could not possibly have gotten off to a better start than it did for me with the 5% play on Ohio State. We follow it up with the play on the Sugar Bowl. Same thing didn't change for me at all with the game being pushed back a day. So you can get that right now on my page, wt.buzz/BP. It's a 7-1 all sports run, like I mentioned. And you go back to Thanksgiving of 2023, Prez, still number 1 in college football, up 61.1 units during that time. In college football, we look to finish the season very, very strong there. And then, of course, we'll have NFL and plenty of basketball this weekend as well.
There we go. Bryan Power, thanks for joining us. Guys, I hope you're enjoying the show. Please, if you don't mind, take a minute out of your day. Hit that like button. Subscribe to our channel, 191,000 of you already subscribed. Let your friends know. I'd like to get to 200,000 sooner than later. Nice to see your name, Chuck and Roger, Titans, Bill, Slick Vic. I haven't seen your name before. Welcome to the chat room. Andy Lang joining us every day, and today is no different. Andy, how are you, man?
I'm great. That intro, man. You're coming in hot with that intro. I loved it. Very, very well done.
Well, it took me about, 1 second to make it up on the spot?
It was great. You got to grab people's attention, get some hot buttons in there. I applaud the effort. We got some great plays today, though.
Any dart ones? Should we get that out of the way?
Yeah, we can do darts here. We'll start with I'll build a cross-sport parlay for everybody. Number 1 in parlays, lifetime. And this is one of the really, really big keys on how we bring in profits and how we make money. So it's the World Championships of Darts. Prez, I will say we're 30-12 in the World Championships of darts. We've had 42 plays and we've won 30 of them. So you got 2 semifinal matches today, and we're just going to parlay the 2 favorites, Luke Littler and Michael Van Gerwen. Littler is on fire. He beat his buddy Nathan Aspinall 5-2, easily leads the tournament in 180s in scoring. His opponent, Bunting's playing well, but he's had the easiest path to the semifinals, so I think Littler rolls in this one. And Michael Van Gerwen, not playing good coming into this tournament. He gets back to his world-class form. He's dialed in, and this is the one guy that Littler doesn't want to play, is Michael Van Gerwen. So he beat red-hot Callan Ridds in a great game. MVG averaged 103.1 and had 14 180s. And Dobie won his last match. President, can you think of those times when you've watched a professional athlete, their body language was just awful and they looked really nervous, and even though they won, you were like, I don't trust this guy on the big stage. Well, that's Chris Dobie. He won in his last match, but his opponent choked. I didn't trust Dobie at all. His body language was awful. He almost choked away the match. So we'll take Michael Van Gerwen money line. And we got to throw in our girl, Sabalenka. She won 2-0, Prez. We talked about her yesterday. She's a walking retirement fund. I'm telling you. We just bet on Sabalenka in the first few rounds of this tournament. So this is our cross-sport parlay. We're going to parlay Littler on the money line, Michael Van Gerwen, and Sabalenka all money lines.
I don't know how a show could be better than this one. Not this one in particular, but this one as a whole. Amazing, dude. Okay, well, we've got more information coming from you, NHL, NBA, and golf. Let's start with NHL. You got a prop bet for us?
Yeah, this is right up your alley. I know you're going to support me in this one. Frank Vetrano under half a point. He plays Winnipeg. They're the best defensive team in the NHL. They're only allowing 2.4 goals per game. Last 3 home games for Winnipeg, they've allowed 2 goals total in 3 games. Vetrano only 4 games this season on the road with a point. And here's the key with this play price. He had 2 points last game. He's had 3 other games with 2+ points this season. The next game after that, all of them, no points. So he's coming off a big game against the best defensive team. This is a hammer spot. It's a 3% client play. It's only minus 125. This checks all the boxes for a really good client play.
And NBA, Kamara.
Yeah, we'll talk Tamani Kamara over 5.5 rebounds. This is just one of those under-the-radar plays that nobody's paying attention to. Gone over in 8 straight games. He's averaging 13 potential rebounds per game. Last 3 games, he's averaging 10 rebounds per game, and we get him at 5.5. He's playing the Lakers. They give up 20 rebounds. They give up 44.3 rebounds per game. That's 20th in the NBA. So this is just another one of these under-the-radar plays. Everyone's focusing on some of these bigger bowl games. We'll just keep cashing these player props in the NBA.
Xander Schauffele, golf has begun. I'm actually golfing next weekend. I'm very excited about that. I'm heading down to Boca to hang out with the old fogies in my life.
Nice.
So you got a prop bet for us on Xander?
I'm going to guess that you go over 67.5 on your round, but we'll take Xander Schauffele to go under 67.5 on round 1. And yeah, golf season has started. And Prez, in last golf season, every Thursday I came on and I was able to do some round scores. I'm going to try and make that a play every Thursday because I'm able to watch the golf in the morning, get a feel for how the course is, and give you guys some round 1 scores. So we'll try and do that every Thursday. Yeah, he's the number 1 player in this field. He shot 66 in the first round last year. This is the easiest course that they're going to play all year. The winds are pretty tame. The greens are really soft. These guys are going to shoot minus 30. The winner is going to shoot minus 30 or lower on this one. So Schauffele's a guy that we're going to play this in round 1. If it hits, we may lay off it in round 2. If it loses, we're going to go back and play it again tomorrow because this course is just absolutely super scoreable. Last 4 years in a row, this course has ranked as the easiest course on tour. Expect big-time low scores.
There we go, Andy Lang. So, Andy, real quick, tomorrow you're on the show. People have been asking, this is sort of incentive week in the NFL. Yep. Tomorrow's show, Gianni and I are going to take apart every game in the NFL top to bottom. I'd love for you to come on here and let's just stay super focused on incentive week in the NFL because there's just a lot of prop bet opportunities. And we're going to start tomorrow with Saquon Barkley because it does sound like he's not going to play, and I don't buy it. I just
really?
don't buy it.
Oh, you think they're going to pull the rope-a-dope? All right. Yeah, I have tomorrow's all incentives in the NFL. There's not as many as normally going into this week. There's normally like 10. There's probably only going to be like 4 or 5, but there's a couple really, really good ones. I was surprised last week. A lot of guys got their incentives. I wonder if this extra game in the season has thrown kind of a wrench into some of these because a lot of guys got their incentives last week, but there's still quite a few of them. We'll be all NFL tomorrow.
Yeah, it just is. I mean, a rushing title against a record that has stood for 30 years or whatever is a big freaking deal. Even though they get
is it the rushing title with extra games? Is it really?
You get what's in front of you, right? So I understand what you're saying, but Eric Dickerson, he seems to be pretty happy about it. He does not want that record broken, and rightfully so. We're going to talk about all of that tomorrow, plus a whole lot more. What a fun show, dude. What do you got to promote?
Take advantage of the buy 90 days, get 30 days free. We always preach long-term results on the show. We're still number 1 last 2 years, plus 232 units. There's no reason to not invest in long-term. When we started this new format with WagerTalk Today, Gianni came to me and just said, go on the show and talk about winners in these crazy sports in these different categories. Just talk about winning and talk about how you accumulate all these units. Well, yesterday, Prez, we swept the board on plays I gave out on this show. And that's what clients come to expect. We're on a 6-0 run in NBA, 22-8 in NHL. And I know some of these plays are off the radar, but that's what our winning plays are about. They're finding spots in the market that most people miss and that the books are giving us really, really good value in soft lines. So take advantage. You get 3 months and then add the 4th month for free. wt.buzz/AL, wagertalk.com.
There we go. Andy Lang. What a show, everybody. No Dave Sharapan today. I'm sure he'll be back next Thursday. We're going to call it nice and early. I'm taping the NFL presidential address pretty much right away. Should be up in a few hours. Make sure to check that out over at WagerTalk TV, our YouTube channel. Lots of love to every single one of you. We'll see you tomorrow for a show that will focus almost entirely on NFL Week 18. See you all tomorrow, guys. Lots of love.